3 weeks from today, we're going to be playing the Louisville Cardinals. And 2 weeks from yesterday, college football season kicks off. Everybody, we're kind of here.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everydayers? I'm Stephen Willis. Welcome back to Locked On Ole Miss. Today's episode is brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use the code Locked On, all one word, and get $10 when you trade $10. So, one thing that's interesting, we are 2 weeks away from the first college football games of the season. 3 weeks from today, which is Sunday, from Ole Miss taking on Louisville. We're kind of there. So I figured it was a good time to bring in the Mayor of Corinth and just kind of sit back and have a conversation about the football season, the Ole Miss fall camp, and anything that comes to mind. We will talk to the Mayor of Corinth about that. So let's get started. Tom, it was amazing. I just looked at a calendar and I was like, man, 2 weeks from Saturday, which is yesterday, there's going to be college football games. And 3 weeks from today, Ole Miss takes on Louisville and Nashville. And it was like, we're there. And now it's starting to kind of speed by, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, definitely. Just like we talked on the last show, the only good thing about getting older is time goes by quicker.
You're absolutely correct on that one. And I was sitting here thinking about that game, and there's 3 teams in the SEC that scheduled week 1 games that they could lose, that they even have any chance to lose. I should put it like that. One is Ole Miss and Louisville. Louisville's probably going to be ranked when that game gets played. Yeah. The other is LSU and Clemson going on, but at least that game's in Tiger Stadium. And then there's the Auburn Tigers playing the Baylor Bears. That's a game they could drop as well. And now week 2, it gets a little tougher. You have the Ohio State, Texas, the Michigan, Oklahoma, and that. But week 1, I think this is a testing thing. So it is a good thing that Pete Golding got to go through the playoffs because he's not learning completely on the fly right now. I think it's important that Pete has some games under his belt, and it's not just going to be completely new on September 6th.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You know, he's been tried in 3 playoff games. Mm-hmm. Plus, you know, I am anxious to see how this team is prepared and how it performs. And you're right. Louisville is no joke. Mm-hmm. We probably have the toughest out-of-conference game in the SEC starting out week 1.
Yeah, especially considering it's a neutral site. Like I said, Clemson is going to be ranked higher than Louisville, but they have to go to Tiger Stadium. So it's not exactly the same thing there. And there are things that I have concerns about going into that Louisville game.
Oh,
one, Isaac Brown is by far one of the best running backs in college football. He's not as good as Kewan Lacey, in my opinion, but he is a very good running back. And Jeff Brom is from the Bobby Petrino tree, which means if the running game gets going, they have a chance to completely unlock you. And I think Louisville has won 9 or 10 games for the last 3 or 4 years. Brom has them cooking up there. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a game that Ole Miss absolutely should win. They're favored by about a touchdown in that game. The roster for Ole Miss is unbelievable. But if you want to look at games that are slip-up potential that you haven't been thinking of, Louisville would fit into that category. Florida, you think about because of after the LSU circus, and then Auburn between Texas and Georgia. I think those are the 3 slip-up points for Ole Miss this season.
Oh, I think you're right. You called that out. It's not going to be – it has the potential to be a really close game. You hit the nail on the head. We have got to stop the run. I'm excited because I actually think our run defense could be better than last year. We'll have to see, but I think
I think there's no doubt it will be.
Yeah, we added some big bodies. I'll be honest. I think our linebacker situation is much better than last year.
Yeah. People like to talk about as like the leading tackle guy in the SEC is TJ Dotter. Well, he played 15 games,
Yeah.
And he still only had like 95 tackles.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like we were lining Patrick Willis back there.
Exactly. Nothing against TJ. He played hard, but he wasn't that great in coverage, and he picked the wrong gap a lot.
Yeah, which is weird. There was a lot. He communicated a lot, but sometimes he freelanced a little bit. Now, I will say this about this front seven last year. This front seven last year was very good.
Yeah.
But the defensive backs let them down.
Yeah.
They had to protect that group, and because of that, they made themselves weaker against the run. So TJ Daugherty, we pick on him, especially in the pass game, but a lot of that wasn't his fault. Ole Miss having to underspend at DB because you just got an 8th wide receiver that led to problems in covering things up. And Ole Miss masked it one play away from making it to the national championship game a year ago. So they did a good job masking it, but the problem was still there.
Yeah, and I don't see how our secondary can't be leaps and bounds better than it was last year.
Just the money that they invested into it lets you know that they should be. Last year at this time, let's just be honest about it. And really good players that played really hard. I'm not making fun of the kids, okay? But you end up getting a guy from Louisiana Monroe that formerly played in D2 that you were able to get at a discount. Good player, really good, made a lot of plays, not the high ceiling. You end up getting Kapina Gushikin, who was about 5'10", 180 pounds, soaking wet, playing safety, athletic guy. He could run around, but that's what you were going with a year ago. This year, Ole Miss went and got Edwin Josephs out of Florida State, a starter there. He's the typical Florida free safety type that can roam around back there that you've seen 100 times. Janelle Aguero, who started at Georgia. Jay Crawford, taking over basically the number one cornerback position that started at Auburn. Sharif Denson, who played a ton, started 6 games at Florida. These are Power 4 teams on the back end that started. This isn't Washington State. This isn't Louisiana Monroe. And it's not making fun of the guys who did it because they performed admirably under the circumstances, but your ceiling goes up because the guys you brought in are at a different tier, in my opinion.
Well, exactly. And you know the old saying, offense sells tickets and defense wins championships. So
yes. Yeah. And you look at the Fiesta Bowl a year ago, everybody's going to say you lost the game because Miami had the ball for 41 minutes or something like that. They ran the ball. No, you lost the game because of a missed tackle and a busted coverage in the secondary. That's why you lost the game.
Well, on a questionable non-defensive pass interference call.
Oh, yeah. I'm not even going to bring that out. But the coverage bust and the missed tackle is the reason that you lost that game, and it's because you were trying to cover up for that secondary that Miami was able to run the ball. You couldn't do the normal things that you kind of do. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how that goes. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk to the mayor all about fall camp and what's going on there. So stick around. Quick one, everydayers. Who's the best player to think of in the secondary? Who is the guy that you are looking forward to seeing from Ole Miss this year? In the secondary, Jay Crawford, Sharif Denson, those dudes. Let me know what you're expecting down in the comment section below. And thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. And when we come back, we're going to talk with Tom Vanderford, the mayor of Corinth, all about fall camp and what he thinks going into it. We'll see what's going on. All of that is coming up next. Support for today's episode comes from Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When workplace chaos hits and you need to make the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills or certifications or location. So less time gets spent searching and more time gets finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Usually the biggest difference isn't somebody just doing more work. It's about having somebody who knows exactly what needs to happen in order for everything to run smoother. So spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. So when you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners to this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your business the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And let me tell you about Poncho. If you're like me, you basically live in game day gear during the season. You're going to want to check out Poncho's new game day collection. It's one of those things where it's a performance shirt, but it doesn't look like a performance shirt. It just looks clean and sharp and like something you would actually want to wear all day. Plus, you get to rep Ole Miss in style. The best part is it's built for real life, super lightweight, breathable, comfortable enough that you can throw it on for a full day of tailgating in the Grove, sitting in the stadium, or just hanging out watching the game with friends without ever feeling the need to change. And what I really like about it is you're not stuck with a one-size-fits-all situation either. You can either dial in the fit with regular, slim, or tall. Plus, you can go long or short sleeves. So grab your team shirt between August 2nd and August 16th. That's today is the deadline. You'll be covered by Poncho's Natty Back Guarantee. If your team wins the College Football National Championship, Poncho is going to give you a full refund of your purchase, and you even get to keep the shirt. So whether it's how lightweight it felt or how quickly it dried or the hidden pocket, magnetic buttons, built-in lens cloth, or simply how comfortable it stayed all day, Poncho has features that can make your school pride pop. So go to ponchooutdoors.com/lockedon and enter your email to get $10 off and free shipping on your first order. That's PONCHO outdoors.com/lockedon. Head there and drop it in your email and you'll get $10 off and free shipping. And once you try one, you'll know exactly why I have a closet full of these shirts. All right, do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give it a 5-star review. It costs nothing, but it helps keep all of this free. Get your daily Ole Miss fix completely ad-free by joining the Everydayer Club today. Start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer to your team without all of the interruptions. Click the link down in the show notes below or go to lockedonolemiss.supercast.com to claim your free trial. And get ready, we're about a week away from the hub actually dropping. It's going to be a game changer. It's going to be real, and it's going to be awesome. So stay tuned for that. All right, Tommy, let's talk a little fall camp because last week the offense got center stage. John David Baker, Caleb Odom, a lot of dudes went to the podium. We got to talk about 12 personnel, which is always a favorite thing of mine. But what was your impression of the week from Ole Miss last week?
I was thrilled at how the receivers and the tight ends are playing. I think we've got two really, really good tight ends that are SEC, all SEC material, and Haas and excuse me, Odom. Chambliss is going to be Chambliss. He looks great. I was happy to see that Frazier is kind of stepping into that number 2 position. I think he brings us a really good running back out of Michigan State. Mm-hmm. So I think we're doing good. And like you mentioned earlier, years ago when we first started the portal, we liked to go poor man money ball. Let's get this kid from Louisiana Monroe, or let's get this kid from Western Kentucky, or whatever the case may be. But if you look, the kids we got this year out of the portal, the majority of them are Power 4.
Yeah, they're big time. And Pete, at his press conference the last time he spoke, he talked about how players were in 2023 when Ole Miss went over to Georgia. They're sitting there taking pictures of Sanford Stadium. Yeah. And he's like, we can't do this. We have to find dudes that are comfortable in this environment because you just get walked over.
Yeah.
That game was a blowout. And after that series completely changed with the winning mentality actually completely changed.
Well, yeah, they realized we had to get bigger and more physical on both sides of the line. One thing I've noticed with our new coach, as far as the high school talent that we've recruited, he's going heavy on the lines, and I love it.
Yeah, he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
And I talked about the defensive lineman that's coming in the 2027 class. That's almost a replacement for the Will Eccles, Cam Franklin, that thing, to where it kind of looks a little bit like baseball. I like to talk about the way baseball used to look when there was an 11.7, to where 1 year you're completely all in on a position, and then they have 3 years, and then you go in and get a big group of those guys again. That kind of is what it looks like on the defensive line. That may not be what they're doing, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah, no, I'm pleased as punch. For the last couple of years, we put more emphasis on the portal than we did on high school. I think that you need a good mixture of both. And and I hate beating a dead horse, but it makes me feel so good seeing the offensive and defensive line personnel that we have committed to us presently.
The transfer portal's been around for about 5 years.
Oh yeah.
So we've got the sample size now to know what you need to look for in the transfer portal and what's going to be crazy expensive and things like that. I think they're just being, I don't want to say Moneyball because you just said that, but they're trying to figure out the value for Ole Miss on the lines is in high school. The value for them at wide receiver is in the transfer portal, and that's kind of the direction they're going.
Oh, exactly. And that's the smart way to do it. I think this is just my opinion, but I think we have an outstanding offensive line coach, and I think we probably have the best defensive line coach in the SEC, my opinion.
Yeah. It's at the point where somebody's about to really come after Randall Joyner.
Oh, yeah.
He's about to get paid. Anyway, real question, everydayers. What are you excited about? High school players being recruited on the trench lines, the offensive and defensive line, or the transfer portal at the wide receiver position, or anything like that in the secondary? Let me know what's going on and send this to whoever needs to hear that Ole Miss is not using the high school ranks, because they are. Yeah. So just let them know. So remember, we're free and available on all the podcast apps and on YouTube. And a special hello to the everydayers who make this show what it is, your team every day. We're going to close it out talking football. We're going to talk fall camp. We're going to talk storylines and things like that. We might even get into the mess that is happening down in Louisiana at the moment. But that is coming up next. Before the season even kicks off, everybody's making predictions. Who wins the division or conference? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at the end of the season? On Kalshi, America's number one prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Will Ole Miss qualify for the playoffs this season? That's an interesting question. Right now, the Rebels are trading at 44% yes, meaning a $100 trade would pay out at about $219 if they clinch a playoff spot. So on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. You can trade the draft pick or the game or even more on Kalshi. So download the Kalshi app and use the code Locked On, all one word, and get $10 when you trade $10. That's Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 and up only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. And running a business should not feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to another. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales to accounting to inventory to marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working towards the same goal. And that's true in sports, just like it is in business. Stop me if you've heard this before. One thing that really stands out is how Ole Miss got everyone pulling in the same direction with the Keith Carter hire. It wasn't just a great player or coach. It was a coordinated effort across the entire organization that made it successful. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free at odoo.com/locked on. That's odoo.com/locked on. All right, last segment. Tom, what's some other things that might be standing out in fall camp right now to you?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's some other things that might be standing out to you in fall camp right now?
Oh, goodness. Just seeing the defense gel, the offense gel, I think that's extremely important. Working to make sure we've got tons of depth, which we should. This is the most deep roster in my lifetime.
Yeah, somehow I think they're better than 24. I genuinely think they're better than 24.
I do too. I really do. At just about every position too.
Yeah.
I am just. I think we're going to be shocked at our linebackers. I really do.
Let's do a thought exercise real quick before we get out of here today. You've got Trinidad Chambliss over Jackson Dart.
Yep.
So you replace the best quarterback in the SEC with the best quarterback in college football.
Right.
So that's advantage 26.
Yeah.
Keywan Lacey, Quinshon Judkins went to Ohio State. We all know that story, and don't even get us started about Ulysses Bentley IV.
Right.
But you returned Keywan Lacey, and you went and got somebody from Michigan State. It's advantage 26.
Right.
Offensive line is you brought in Diego Pounds, and Jaden Williams was already here, so that was happening. I think that's kind of a wash. I think the tight end position at that time, it's advantage 2026 when you have Luke Haas and Caleb Odom because of what they bring. Offensively, this is a better unit in those three positions than otherwise. Now, there's no Trey Harris on this roster. I think that was Caden Lee's a freshman, but Jordan Watkins was on that team. There was a lot of talent at wide receiver. So 2024 will win the wide receiver a bit. Defensive line, kind of a wash. One had Walter Nolan, the other had Will Eccles. One had Jared Ivey, one had Cam Franklin. There's a lot of looking the same there. Linebackers is advantage 2026. Secondary going to be kind of a wash because remember that was the Trey Amos team and all of that, Trey Washington. And the special teams in 2026 looks better. So if you go position room by position room, kind of shakes out that 2026 is better.
Oh yeah. And I don't know for sure, but I think we're going to be pleasantly pleased with our portal additions at wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a huge Jonte Cook guy.
Oh, me too.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that twitch, man. And he's, we'll have to see. I think he can be an All-American at Ole Miss.
Yeah, what Ole Miss is lacking, and I'm not going to say lacking, what we haven't seen to this point and know anything for sure about is Ole Miss doesn't have that guy, that 6'2" wide receiver that's 215 pounds. That was Deshaun Stribling last year. In 2024, it was Trey Harris. At this point, we don't know about that. Is it Horatio Fields? Maybe. Absolutely. It could be. Is it Caleb Cunningham? Maybe. Is it Samari Reed? Maybe. But the question is going to center around that job for Ole Miss moving forward. In my opinion.
It's funny you bring up Samari Reed. I've heard good things.
He's this camp's Aiden Williams or Braylon Brown. It sounds like
exactly. We won't know until we start.
Yeah, so it will be what it looks like. So here's the deal, every day, or subscribe, hit the bell right now, and the Mayor of Corinth stopped by and talked about fall camp. We are 3 weeks away from Ole Miss taking on Louisville and less than 2 weeks away from the start of college football. We are here. Before we go, what's the one thing you need to see out of the wide receiver room? Put that in the comments section below and let me know. And as always, tell me what you're seeing because you're usually ahead of the national media on this type of stuff. You're not the smartest audience in all of ball for no reason. Anyway, Tom, thank you very much for stopping by, and we will talk to you next week, bud.
Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy. All right, so subscribe, hit the bell, and the Ole Miss Hub is coming in about a week. And you're going, what is the Ole Miss Hub? The Ole Miss Hub is the Ole Miss Hub. And I will explain in about a week, and it's going to transform pretty much how you look at all of this Locked On stuff. So if you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Ole Miss ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonolemist.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we're going to send you on over to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, check out Locked On College Football, Locked On SEC, Locked On Bets is available as well. So subscribe, hit the bell, all of that stuff, and we will, of course, see you tomorrow. Take care, and hotty toddy.